Sorry, folks. Here we come at you a day late again.
Yeah, we're making a habit of that. This is now a Friday podcast.
Yeah. Well, I was a little puny there yesterday. I kind of felt a little under the weather.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Well, I couldn't record yesterday anyway.
Yeah.
I've been out of town.
Well, last night I guess we were going to try.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been great for me because I got back in town last night. And
yeah.
That would have been.
After how long of a drive that day?
We only drove 13 hours yesterday.
Yeah, that's
we
still
put in about 9 the day before. So.
That's still a pretty good drive.
Sioux Falls to Drummond's, Tennessee.
Yeah, they went and y'all went on a hunting trip with Biden.
Yeah, Hunter. I mean,
yeah, Hunter Biden. Yeah,
that's how he got his name.
That's true. Yeah, he's a hell of a hunter. They say.
Yeah. It was. He's a good dude.
Did y'all do some crack?
Oh gosh.
No, but yeah, you just got back. Tell everybody where you've been.
We went to eastern Montana chasing mule deer. We did a lot more chasing than we did shooting, but had a good time. Good group of guys. We camped. It's the first time I've ever done it camping. It was camping. I mean, it's just a lot of work.
Yeah,
that's what I was telling the guys. Like, and it did add a level of fun to it, I guess. But like, man, in the past we would always just stay in town, and I don't know. It's you get to go back into town and get a shower every night, and then go sit down and eat a steak dinner, or cheeseburger or whatever.
What did y'all eat? Did y'all grill like hot dogs and burgers or something?
So one night, one of the guys we took actually a backstrap, just from a whitetail here, grilled it up one night. Then what we had done ahead of time was like some freezer meals, basically, like sloppy joes, jambalaya,
hungry man,
that kind of stuff. No, we ate good, and of course you're camping, so it's like anytime, like you're eating something that at home, you might think, that wasn't that great, but you're really hungry.
There is something about a campfire, like cooking.
Oh no, we ate incredibly well, and good group. There was 4 of us from here, and then we met 3 other guys, so 7 of us total in camp. And, kind of took turns cooking. The few deer we killed, we ate the tenderloins out of one of them. We ate their hearts. Heck, the night we killed 2 deer on the same afternoon, and so we were eating their hearts like not 2 hours after they had died.
I've never eaten heart.
It's just muscle. Some of those guys are the same way. I'm the one who's like, no, it's like, we're gonna eat these hearts. Yeah. And it's just muscle.
I know. I feel like it'd be tough.
No, it's not. It's really not. I kind of see where you would get that opinion, and I would. Had I not ever tried it, I would have said the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I shoot all of mine in the heart, though.
I mean, both these deer were shot pretty well, but
it just explodes their heart. There's nothing left.
Neither one was heart shot. They were both double lunged.
No, I'm usually shooting the lung. Did you take a bite of the lung, the raw lung?
Well, and the liver.
Did you eat the liver raw?
No, we didn't do any of that. We got them back to camp, ate the hearts, we skinned them out and quartered them the next day, and we ate pretty good. Heck, even breakfast, we took 3 times as much junk as we needed, and that was, getting set up. And
could you drive to where y'all set up, or did y'all have to hike the stuff in?
No, because we were. I mean, it was, which I guess people do, like real backcountry camping. Like, no, our tent, it's like a canvas wall tent.
Yeah.
And so it had a little stove in it, a little wood burning stove, so we could stay warm. Because it wasn't the temperature. I mean, it got down in the teens, but it was, the wind was just brutal. And of course that made the hunting tough. But, we actually had to walk. We were probably camped a couple 100 feet from where, because you can't get the trucks off the 2-track, which is just little dirt roads. But we put our camp down in a draw because we got there on Friday and there was like a severe wind advisory for Saturday night, like 65-mile-an-hour gusts. We were like, guys, I don't know if the tent can hold up to that.
65-mile-an-hour gusts. Dang.
So that made it a little bit of a pain because, if there wasn't been a lot of wind, we could have literally like just camped like right beside the truck and would have made it a little easier getting unpacked and then packed back up. So it took us about 3 hours to set up camp, and when we broke camp, it took us about 2.5 hours to get everything broken down. But yeah, we had a good time. It was every time too on the ride home, I'm like, I'm just gonna fly next time. But flying, just I don't know. I mean, I know plenty of people that fly and check a gun and all that and whatever. But then getting your meat home and like that is where it's nice just to have a truck. We just throw everything in the truck and take off.
Yeah.
And 22 hours later, you're home.
Yeah, man, I hate driving a long ways too. That's the bad thing for me.
We've always just driven it straight through, both going and coming, and this time we didn't.
Yeah.
We stopped. We put in a really long day, the first day going, and then coming back. Well, because we didn't get a super early start coming back because we had to break camp. And so, yeah, we put in our long day driving the second day coming back. But, yeah, I had a good time. Yeah, the whole public land DIY stuff, I don't know. Got to find a better area. I mean, it's just a lot of pressure. People everywhere.
Yeah.
We definitely saw more hunters than we did deer. But
yeah, this sucks. That's how I was.
And this area has changed because we've been going to the same area. Some of the guys, I first went 9 years ago. 2 of our guys started going the year before that, so I've been going for 10 years.
Yeah.
And we've been doing some years we would hunt a private ranch right there. Some years we would do public. And it just, the amount of pressure right there. And then the deer numbers seem to reflect that as well. Like, didn't see near the deer that we used to see, and see a whole lot more hunters than we used to see. So, but anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you can hear my bull, Curly.
I do hear him out there.
I don't know if the people can hear him because these mics, they don't pick up a lot of external. Let me ask you, why won't he shut the hell up? He's about to drive me crazy. He's got hay. He's been fed. He has water.
And when the other bull's out there with him.
Yeah, and he won't shut the freak up, man. Like,
I don't know if there's a cow in heat over here or something. Maybe.
Well, all of them are right here at the gate, the fence.
It may be that one of them's in heat and he hears her or smells her.
Well, she needs to get her ass out of here because actually,
that's one thing I can come up with. Hell, he's been a long time weaned. Well, hell, he was a bottle calf.
Yeah. He's very weaned. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what he's bawling about.
Does
he do it every night?
He does it pretty often.
Yeah.
But he's gotten really bad here in the last few days.
Well, now that all the cow herd's just right up here, kind of across the
barn. So could he
lot
smell them from that distance?
Oh, heck yeah.
I always thought he was gay because he rides the hell out of Mo out there. Mo runs from him all the time.
He's doing the best he can with what he's got available to him.
Dude, that
can it? You think hell yeah, he can smell it. For reference, we're talking. He's like what? About
100 yards,
300 feet. Yeah. Those cows, particularly, that's the most powerful smell on the planet to a bull. He can smell it from a mile away.
Well, he was. See, earlier, and he's actually toned down a lot. He was right behind my house over here.
Is he looking across at them?
Kinda. So yeah, I guess that's what he's doing. But now the other day he was doing it out at the neighborhood. So maybe a woman was menstruating and he could smell her. He could smell the menstruations. But he was right behind the house over there. Like, we got the kids tucked in and Marcy was going to bed, and she was like, I was getting the SD cards and stuff, and she came and I mean, I could hear him. It was nonstop. It was like several a minute he was doing that, and it was loud. I mean, it sounded like he was standing in the room next to us. It was so loud, and she was like, Curly, you've got to make him be quiet. And I said, what do you want? How am I going to make him be quiet? And she was like, I don't know, but he is so loud. And I said, I've only got one way that I can make him be quiet right now. And I was like, and that's going to require me to go out there with a gun. And I said, because, he was doing it the other day, and I was like, shut up. Like, I went up to him at the fence and was like, shut up, like telling him to be quiet. And he just looks at me, and then I walk off, and he starts right back. So, yeah. I mean, they're definitely ready to start being fed, to be fed out. We talked about it a month ago, and which your dad tripped me out because they got out. Did you hear about all that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so oh man, my parents were out of town. When did it rain? Rain here.
It rained a bunch while I was gone because I
It did.
dumped 1.5 inches out of one of my gauges.
Oh man, it was either Friday or Saturday, and it was the day before it rained. That's what it was. I was moving. Dad and them were not gone yet. He was down in the river bottom, and I had just moved over moved the combine to Mead Lake. And your dad tried calling me when I was moving the combine down the road. And so I got to the field and I called him back and he said, hey, I was just calling you. He said, I guess I don't know if he was making his way back to his house, like coming from the office to his house and saw him, or if somebody called him. But he said, your bulls were out in the road out here at Munford Gilt Edge. And so he said, I got them in the lot. They came to the feed bucket. He said, I got them in, and which is a good reason to get cows to feed them daily because they'll get out.
Get them bucket trained, yeah.
Yeah. So they came back in the lot. Well, we put them in the little, like in between the feedlot area there. And Curly was trying to ride the hell out of Mo, and so your dad was like, I don't know if that'll contain them or not. And he was like, they're kind of rowdy. And I said, yeah, they're a little rowdy. And he goes, why don't you just sell them? And I said, well, I want to get the meat off of them. He said, well, sell them and use the money to go to the grocery store and buy you some meat. He was like, he said, you'll make good money on them bulls. And I said, yeah, but that's not the point. I was like, I want fresh meat, like straight off the farm. And he was like, yeah, well, I'd sell them. And so I went over here the next morning because it was late. I said, I'll fix the fence and go in there. So I went in there and I went all around the fence. I never saw anything where they could get out. I kind of patched a few spots that didn't look great, but I put them back in there because I didn't see anything else. So I turned them back out. There was like one area where I'm like, maybe they forced their way through the fence. And there was a little bit of hair there. So I'm like, maybe that's where they got out. So I kind of patched it and put them in there. And it had rained. My dad and them were out of town. And so I went to pick up some lunch. And I was going through the drive-thru and my phone rang. And it was Marcy. And she goes, where are you? And I said, I'm up here in town. I'm getting some food. And she goes, Mo and Curly are in our backyard. And I was like, what? And she goes, yeah, they were. She was like, oh my God, they're going to crash through the chicken coop like out here. And I'm like, dang it. So I said, well, get a bucket of feed and try to get them in the lot. I'm on my way. So I come here and yeah, the Mo, he's pretty chill. He's in the lot. Curly's the like one that won't shut up, and he must be like bad after it. And he's next to the fence where the cows are. They've all walked up to the fence.
Oh yeah.
And so I go over there because Marcy, I've told her, I'm like, don't get too close because I mean he would potentially butt you. And so I got the feed bucket and went up to him, and oh yeah, he started like trying to, he was doing his head trying to hit the bucket, and I got him in there. Long story short, I found one of these panels had actually been pulled away.
Pulled off the post. They pulled the staples out.
Yeah, and they had just walked straight out. But yeah, after that, I told her, I said, yeah, we gotta feed them out and get them executed.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't want to just sell them because my dad even said the same thing today. He was like, why don't you just sell them? I'm like, well, because that defeats the purpose.
Well, yeah, but you're not going to put two of them in your freezer.
No, I mean, I want to sell one of them.
Yeah.
But we're about out of meat from the one that I did that time.
You got to get you a kill date.
Yeah.
Because I promise you, if you call anywhere, they're going to tell you.
Several months, I'm sure.
Oh God, that might be optimistic.
I might be shooting him and doing it myself.
Right. It might be like, how does November of next year sound?
Lord, yeah, if it's that far out, golly.
I'm serious, it might be.
Yeah. Dang. November.
Yeah. You just need to call them, and then and sometimes you can tell them like, hey, just got somebody that cancels, at the last second. I'll load them up and come right up there.
We'll just do like them Indians or the Arabs, and they spread the tarp and kill them and cut them up.
The religious ceremony. Yeah. I was talking to a guy about that the other day, about like sheep and goats. I'm like, well, if you want to raise sheep and goats, you know, and I've never done it, but the people that I know that have done it, the real way to make good money is selling them, you know, direct right off the farm to a lot of those ethnic markets and
Muslims,
yeah,
particular,
Muslims,
yeah.
yeah. And when they come out and do like that, I mean, it's like a ritual the way they have to kill it in accordance with, you know, their law.
Hezbollah. I don't know what it is.
What is it? Halal is
that how they?
Of course, for Jews, it has to be kosher.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought they couldn't eat hoofed animals, but I guess that Jews?
Well, and like Jews will eat, you know, they won't eat pork.
But what is it? Who is it that won't eat hoofed animals?
Well, none of them. Well, Jews and Muslims. Which is a whole funny thing, because of course, obviously and it goes back centuries, but they're really similar.
Yeah.
You know? And really, and even Christianity. And Lord, this is getting way off the rails for talk dirt to me, but and I'm not in my area of expertise here, but where they're talking about Judaism, Islam, or Christianity, the Old Testament is very similar.
Yeah,
like a lot of it, you know, there's the parallels, or even it's exactly the same, even in some instances. But yeah, both Jews and Muslims won't eat pork, of course.
But I don't understand why versus a cow.
It's in some of that. I think a lot of Old Testament. I mean, it's like they talk about cloven hooved animals, and yeah, like what's the difference between a pig versus, because you have a pig's hoof and like a small ruminant.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, there's probably somebody listening right now that's like, y'all are butchering this. But anyway, yeah, it's.
I've never read the Quran.
But they have to kill it in a manner that's in accordance with their laws or whatever. And I've heard people talk about it. Of course, it's some kind of redneck country boys like us that are raising these animals, and
yeah,
like, yeah, I don't know, like I don't, they're like, oh, it's crazy as hell. We'd sit there in a truck and drink beer and watch them, and it's the wildest thing.
And
like,
yeah, they don't waste anything.
Oh no, everybody says like it's super clean, like they're very good at it. But yeah, anyway,
that's how I learned a little about it, just from when I was a machinist. I worked at the first shop I worked at had a ton of Bosnian people there. It was from the Bosnian Civil War. Apparently, Serbia and Bosnia fought like a civil war. Yeah. And when that happened, a bunch of them from Bosnia sought asylum here or whatever.
Refugees or whatever.
Yeah. And so, one of the guys there, and he was always very nice. His name, well, I won't say his name for HIPAA. Don't want to violate our HIPAA standards here. But he was a very nice guy, and he always would be like, my friendy. That's what he called me, my friendy. And he found out we farmed, and he was like, he got another guy that had been there for a long time that had become my friend to ask me if I would sell him a cow, because he was like embarrassed to ask. And dude came up. The guy that asked me he was in the Marines, and he was like, hey man, so-and-so wants to know if you'll sell him a cow. And I said, sell him a cow? I was like, I've never just like sold a cow direct to anybody. And he said, yeah, they want a cow. And he goes, he said, you know what he'll do with it, don't you? And I was like, I have no clue what he'll do with it. And he was like, they'll come out to your place and they'll kill it and they'll like butcher it right there. And I said, wow. And he goes, and then they'll drink the blood. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, man, I saw it all the time when I was in Afghanistan. And I was like, they drink the blood? And I don't know if that part's factual, but
yeah, that might be getting a little bit. Yeah. So the Bosnian gentleman was Muslim.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like the only Christian in this place. Like it was atheists, Muslims, and like 2 Christians. And but it was pretty wild. Like this guy, I remember this dude had he had lumps on his arms. Like I noticed some knots on his arms. I always wondered what it was, and me and my buddy were talking, and I was like, wonder what that is on his arms. And he said, dude, that's shrapnel. He said he got blown up. And he said when he got blown up, he said he's got all kinds of shrapnel in his arms. I was like, wow. There was one guy in there, like, and I'll say this guy's name because he's probably dead by now because he looked like he was 150 when I was working with him. But his name was Vladimir, and he was like our metal finisher. And I mean, that guy, he looked like a Vladimir. If I was going to
say, just saying Vladimir was probably not going to narrow it down.
No. But I mean, you know, Dracula's name was Vladimir, and like that's kind of what I'm like. That's kind of he looked kind of like Dracula a little bit.
Yeah. Any Eastern European person, male,
Vladimir's
got to be like the most common.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I got to say the other guy's name because it's such an iconic name, but Mustafa was the other guy's name.
Well, yeah, I mean,
like Lion King, man.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's probably not narrowing it down.
Well, he was always super nice, but he wanted a cow. I told Dad, I was like, he wants to know if you'll sell him a cow, and Dad was like, absolutely not. And I was like, okay. So that was the extent of where it went.
Right.
Hey, all right. So I
want to ask because I'm curious. How's harvest?
Oh man, I tell you what, you shouldn't have asked.
Well, I knew it had rained a bunch while I was gone, so I was like, I really don't know how much progress they might have made since last week.
Well, I was planning to finish mine today. When I woke up this morning, the goal was to be done with all mine, and then I was going to go help cut a little bit of theirs. But man, I tell you, I had more trouble today than I've had the entire season. Like,
damn.
we got out there, and first I should have known we were starting off on a bad leg. Combine needed some diesel in it. Put diesel in my tank. I get out there, my pump quits working. Like on
the transfer tank.
Yeah,
okay.
And it's the switch. Just replaced the switch like 2 weeks ago. Switch is already bad again. Didn't get to put any diesel in the combine. So started off on a bad leg. I should have just been like, we'll just wait and start back tomorrow. So then we get out there, and I'm cutting around. Beans are really good, and I blow a hydraulic hose on the header. I'm like, gosh darn it! And so we get the hose off, get that fixed, start back cutting. I mean, that took a little while. So we get that going. And then all of a sudden I get a huge wad of stuff build up, and I look, and I have hit something, and 3 of my knives are broken. One of my guards is broke. So I had to drive back to the truck and get that fixed. And at that point I'm like, all right, we definitely ain't finishing today, but I only lacked 60 acres going into the day. So I finished that 20-acre farm, move over to the 30-acre farm. I've started cutting it. Beans are really good. The sun is going down because it's like 2:30 in the afternoon. It gets dark, and the grass is getting wet. I'm having to tilt the blades back. Oh, and I guess I should add my plug that tilts the blades back. Somehow came apart, and I had to like tape it together. So it's a fiasco.
You were limping to the finish line.
Yeah, limping to the finish line, cussing like a man. I mean, I told Marcy when I got home, I said, if I had a swear jar, it'd be overflowing. And Brad that helps me, so that's not the final cherry on top. We're cutting tonight, and I'm like, there was a 10% chance of rain tonight, 7%. And I'm thinking to myself, all right, the way things are going, it'll rain if I don't cover this stuff up. So I said, we'll just put enough on the buggy, and then we'll tarp it up. So I'm cutting, and all of a sudden my knives, my knives keep choking up on the header, and it's because it's getting wet. So I keep undoing that. Well, they choke up again, and I'm like, I can't repeat what I was saying because it was very foul. And normally I can reverse the header and then pop it back, and then they'll free up. They'll start going. They never would, and I'm like, what the crap is going on here? And I keep messing with it. Grass is stuck all in the knives. I'm like, it's just really choked up. So I back up, and I'm at the other end of the field, and I whip it around. And that's what Brad said. He was like, man, I could tell you were going really fast. He was like, I knew things were not good at that point. Because I'm doing probably 12 miles an hour across the field in this combine, like bouncing across it because I'm mad. So I get over there, and we figured out that the cutter bar is broken on the header now. Like, it wasn't choked up, it just broke. So I've got a little repair kit, I've repaired one before, but I mean, like that's your part where your knives go back and forth. It just broke in half, and if I can't repair it with this, then I'm gonna have to go get a whole set of knives, like the whole bar to replace it. So I told Brad, I was like, dude, I said, it's probably a good thing that this happened because I said I was about to blow a effing head gasket in that combine. That's when he said, yeah, man, I saw you going pretty fast. I knew, because I think he said he was on the phone with somebody. He was like, I better get off the phone. This ain't good. Like, something's not good. So I have 30 acres to go. And I mean, it took all day for me to cut 30 acres today. Normally I can cut 20 in an hour.
So is it even feasible that you'll get done tomorrow?
That is the plan. I've got this.
It's gonna rain tomorrow night.
I know, and that's what I'm looking at. I mean, if I can get this, the repair kit is just this little thing that goes on there. You kind of piece it together. If it works, I mean, that'll take me maybe an hour to put on, maybe 30 minutes to put on. So if all that works, then yes,
you'll be golden. Yeah.
I will be good. If something else happens, Lord help me. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I hope you get done tomorrow.
Bean prices are at least high. They've come back up a lot.
Yeah.
Whenever we first started, it's kind of crazy. I'll share this with people. Like, initially, when I canceled my contracts, I mean, I took a pretty good hit because the spot price was like $12.60 on there, and I just saw today he's gonna haul a load in the morning, $14.70. So,
damn,
that's with Cargill. You know what CGB's paying?
What?
Here was the difference. Cargill is paying $14.70, and CGB was paying $13.07.
Damn.
$1.70. They had a negative $1.20 basis on their beans.
Just because they can't get rid of them.
They can't get rid of them. I mean, and that's what I told Dad. I said
they still can't get barges in. Yeah,
they're still contract only.
Yeah.
So I mean,
are they loading any barges in Memphis? Or are they still?
I don't know.
Truck it all out.
I guess they're having to truck it out.
I bet they're still trucking everything out. They're not able to load any.
Well, it ain't getting no better. Like I think the forecasts say the river's going to go even lower.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because we were still. I mean, even the rain. It didn't rain here for us. That helps the. I mean, it needs to rain all north of us. All the.
But don't you think there is some tributaries they could open?
I don't know. As dry as it's been everywhere else, I would say that. I mean, I don't know it, and two, like as big as the river is, like I don't know.
It would make that much of a difference.
Yeah, and then you're probably creating other problems, which I know this is affecting like major commerce. That's what I was asking somebody the other day. What the outlook was for fertilizer prices, and they said, well, the river ain't helping that because all of it comes in here because we import, so much of it comes in on barge. He's like, they can't get barges in, and then the ones they do have, that it costs them so much more, to get it in. And so, like, that's any supply, chain issues, whatever they had fixed, is now being negatively, is offset by the fact that, now supply is limited by the fact they just can't get it here.
Yeah.
Even if the fertilizer's there, they can't move it. Not to us, but anyway.
Yeah.
How much do our dads lack?
When I talked to Dad today, I think he said he's in Millington, probably 80 there. They're probably down to, I'm going to say 250.
Okay.
300, 250 or so, maybe 300. But
so good running. Which I mean, it's going to be the rain. It's going to be the issue now.
Well, I mark my words. It's going to be a blast of grain bins after this season because I talked to a guy today they're pretty good sized farmers, and I asked him how much they lack, and he said they are halfway done. And there's another guy that I've heard that's another pretty good sized operation. They're not crazy, but they're a decent sized operation. I think they still have 2,000 acres to go.
Yeah, just because they hadn't been able to deliver anywhere.
Yeah, the granaries have just been killing folks, and I mean, that's what initially I was wondering if I'd messed up canceling my contracts because I was like, man, because some of the CGB was being open, some like occasionally, but you would go and your driver would sit in line for 7 hours. Like you were getting one load a day. Dude, with me hauling to Hales Point, we made 3 loads in one day. Like, so I think in the end I made the right decision. That's kind of the way I feel about it.
Yeah.
Pass me over that blue note there real quick. Finished my green tea, so I'll top it off with a little blue note here.
There you go.
It's a good sound. No, I did just read an interesting article, and I had not heard about this. I'm curious if you had. Let me get this. I mean, because this is kind of crazy. I feel like this is something we should have heard. All right. Have you heard anything about what the Mexican president has said about corn?
So, okay. And this is how I get my news. I saw somebody, I was scrolling Twitter earlier today, was making fun of the Mexicans, something with GMO.
Yeah.
Corn. Yeah.
It says the government cannot buy GMO corn.
Yeah.
It says that, Mexico's government cannot make purchases of yellow corn from the United States because it does not want genetically modified corn. President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, man, that guy's he's got 4 names, said on Wednesday, said the United States wanted to sell Mexico more corn and they declined. There is a market for it, but the government cannot make a purchase because we do not want GM, said, it says Lopez Obrador said, citing a lack of scientific investigation into its effects. We are a sovereign free country, he added. I guess he just has to put that in there.
Well, I mean, that's fine.
I know. What's that got to do with anything?
Well, right. Well, no, I mean, where are they going to get their? So they're not going to import any GMO corn.
That's what, according to this, and actually it says here, Mexico has a controversial presidential decree that seeks to ban genetically modified corn in 2024 and phase out the herbicide glyphosate found in Roundup.
So where are they going to get their corn? Because I don't know. I mean, I'm not an expert in
let's see. How
much corn they import or need to import annually, and how much like non-GMO corn is out there.
Well, see this right here. All right, so this says the country imports some 17 million tons of U.S. corn a year and is on track to import even more this year. Experts have said, and it says...
But now they're not. They're officially canceling all that.
I guess for 24, and it says U.S. farm lobbies insist the ban will cause billions of dollars in economic damage. Yeah.
To the U.S. or?
I don't really know. I would think probably to both.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they would be we need them as a trade partner. I mean, they're our neighbor.
That makes you wonder what corn prices are going to do.
Yeah, it does, but Lord have mercy. I'm just not an expert in like how important they are to our corn trade, but I would think that
is 17 million tons
everywhere
much?
Else in the world, there's going to be like that. You know, I don't know if they're the only country that takes that stance. We'll still find an outlet for our corn, but I don't know. That's our good buddy that works in the industry. I'll have to ask him about that. And if it's, which a lot of times, you know, I almost expect him to say, "Oh, this is just them. It's politics." You know, they're playing this game to get us to do this or whatever. You know, it's I don't know.
Mexico's the number 2 importer of U.S. corn.
Okay.
China is number 1. It's billions U.S. It says imports in billion U.S. dollars, $8 billion to China, $5 billion from Mexico. That seems kind of surprisingly low. Japan, Egypt, and Germany. Germany's in there, but Mexico's number 2. I just don't see how that's going to work. They make a lot of tortillas in Mexico.
Well, that's what the only way I'd even heard about it was somebody like had a meme in there, and it was pretty much making fun of like they're not going to accept GMO corn, but they'll make tortillas out of anything. You know?
Yeah.
It had a picture of like some nasty rotten ears of corn. I don't know.
Or was it the oh crap, you're thinking of it's supposed to be really good, like the fungus that grows on corn.
Okay, so that's what it was. See, I didn't even get the entire meme. Yeah.
Yeah, what do they got a name for it?
See, crap. This is all, I'm learning something new tonight. Well, that's what I was like, my God, what is that? But yeah, it looked like moldy.
It's supposed to be delicious. I think Ed Calderon may have been the one
Well,
that like pointed it out
that's
to
pretty
me.
much what the meme says. Like, they're not going to import GMO corn, but yet they'll make tortillas out of this. Yeah. So,
Let me see. I got to tell you, we got to share Smut. Is that what you're talking about?
yeah.
Yeah, Smut. It's supposed to be delicious,
Yeah.
but I don't know that I could bring myself to eat that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you made a tortilla out of that, and then I didn't realize that's what it had.
A corn smut tortilla? I got to look this up. Guys, there's what you need. Google corn smut if you want to see what we're talking about here. But yeah, I've had it. Like in some of our really wet years. Oh, yeah, they put it on the tortilla. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. I don't know if I can't see your pictures from this far away. But
This is Hudalache. There you go. That's the corn mushroom is what they call it.
yeah.
Doesn't that look tasty?
I'm not the most adventurous person when it comes to eating. But I would not eat that. I'll eat.
There you go. Doesn't that look yummy?
I will eat a GMO corn bread, cornmeal, whatever, all day long. I will not eat that.
Look how slimy that looks.
Yeah, dude. And I love Mexican food.
And I love mushrooms, but that looks. I like mushrooms. Do you like mushrooms?
Oh, yeah, I love mushrooms.
But that don't look good. Well, I've seen it in the field, and I don't remember who. I asked somebody. I was like, "What is this?" It was a real wet year, and it would be like on the tops of some corn would be like that, and they were like, "That's smut," and they said, "You eat it," and I was like, "Not a chance I would eat that. It looks like shit." And I mean, it looks gross, and yeah, that looked really gross.
Yeah. Well, that was the picture, and I didn't really even get the full reference what he was talking about.
Yeah.
With that meme. But
Well, there you go. You have to cook you have to do some deer heart with some smut.
No, I know exactly what deer heart is. That's just a muscle. That's funky looking. But anyway, so yeah, I don't know. That seems like one of those deals where, like, I don't know that they'll be able to, because I mean that's going to cost them a lot more. Like that's going to be
Who are they going to buy their corn from?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So they're buying however many 17 million tons or whatever. Yeah. Is there that much conventional corn out there? I mean, I don't know. I mean, these are all questions for somebody that's an expert in the industry.
That's what I wondered because I mean, I don't know if China's the number one importer of our corn. It ain't like China's going to be exporting corn. Like who are they going to turn to? I guess.
Right. Yeah, who's going to grow that corn? Which I mean, obviously, there's some non-GMO corn grown in this country.
Yeah.
And so I guess they would be able to import that.
Maybe they'll link up direct to China, some of those guys.
Well, but I mean, is China growing non-GMO corn?
Well, not to China. I mean, to Mexico.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, you'd have to put like full barge loads together. I mean, it's not like you're going to haul a truckload of corn down there to them.
Does China, what is their growing season like?
China, I don't know. I would imagine, obviously China's an enormous country. I would think it wouldn't be too different from us. I mean, obviously they're in the northern hemisphere.
You ever want to go to China?
Like where it is on, I mean, just from like a curiosity standpoint, I'm trying to look at my little global map. Yeah, they're pretty well on the same, like, parallel or whatever, not too different than us, but I mean, well, it's just like our country. They're so massive. Yeah, some of the northern parts of the country are going to be different than southern, but I mean, that's a place where, like, politics, and safety and all. I guess you can travel to China now. Well,
I feel kind of weird as an American there, though.
Well, like in a post-COVID world. Like, yeah, I mean, I would imagine I would not want to be there. Well, shit, you see the stuff where they're like, got the concentration camps. Like, yeah, there's zero chance in hell I would go there now. Now, pre-COVID, when like, you know people. Heck, I know several people who, heck, I know a guy that was there right before COVID hit.
Oh, really?
Was like, was kind of worried that, never was worried that he was not going to get out of the country, but
boy, that'd be my luck. Travel to China and get stuck there.
Well, stuff like that which I know people that travel internationally all the time. They're like, oh, it's not a big deal. I'm like, I don't know. I remember when I was in college, when September 11th happened, one of our professors was in Europe and was traveling with a bunch of equipment.
Yeah.
And of course, I mean, they shut off all flights, into the country. And then whenever he could finally get on a flight, he had all this crazy equipment. And they were like, of course, everything was like super scrutinized. And they were like, what are you trying to take on this plane?
How long was he stuck over there?
I can't remember exactly, but it was.
Boy, could you imagine? That would be terrible.
Yeah.
Like, I hate traveling already. I'd be a basket case. I'd be like, I'm going to have to swim across the ocean.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's that would kind of be my nightmare scenarios. Some crazy international event happens and you get stranded there,
Or then you could be like James Reese. Maybe you're the guy that's got to save the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a terminalist shout out. We'll give a shout out there for our man Jack Carr there. That's good. That's a good way to give him a shout out. Terminalists on Amazon Prime. You check it out.
Yeah. Well, and hopefully they keep going from there.
I hope so, man. I hope so. What did you think of the series?
The TV,
TV series.
I thought it was pretty good. Definitely, it made me want to go back and read the book because there were several times like, whoa, that's not how that happened. And
don't do that. Don't do that. That's a bad deal.
Well,
bad deal.
No, and I mean, not that I didn't like the show, but it just had me question myself. I'm like, whoa, am I misremembering? Because it did deviate from the book in some ways.
Yeah, Dad was like annoyed with that.
Well, it's annoying because if you've read the book and you're like expecting it, but you're like, well, and some of it I'm like, I understand, for TV, but some of it's like, well, why'd they have to do it that way? Like, why couldn't it have just followed the book?
There was things like that. Yeah, I was the same way. I'm like, man, why'd they change that? They did leave one of the best kills in the show. They put in the show that he does in the book. They did alter it a little bit, but they made it a little, which it's on Amazon Prime. And I don't know if you ever watched The Boys. Have you ever seen that?
Mm-mm.
Just don't watch it. But it's that show is an Amazon Prime show. So I kind of went into the terminalist like, well, they won't hold anything back, which they really didn't. But it's nothing compared to The Boys as far as like the gore and stuff. But
The Boys is very gory.
Yeah, it's a very. I watched the first 2 seasons of it, and Marcy even came in and she was like, "Why are you watching?" She was like, "This show is filthy." She was like, "Why are you watching this show?" It's actually about, the premise is really cool. It's about superheroes that are actually dirtbags in real life, and they kind of end up, they're like a lot of them end up becoming villains basically, and it follows this group of guys that are essentially the boys, and they're killing superheroes, and it's based off of comics. And apparently the comic is even more horrendous than the show itself is, but it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's a good shout out for Terminalist. But no, I'm saying, man, I don't think I'd want to go to China. But for some reason in my head, when I think of China, I always just imagine the people shitting in rice paddies. But I think that's probably more like Vietnam.
I don't even know. I like Chinese food.
Yeah, I do too. So, but that's really.
I imagine the Chinese food that I've eaten is probably nothing like
that. Yeah.
Food.
Well, that's like authentic Mexican food versus like Taco Bell.
Yeah. If that's authentic Mexican food.
Yeah, the smut.
Corn smut.
We're going to have that.
No.
We're going to have that one day.
Hell no.
That's going to be a Talk Dirt to Me special.
I like my steak fajitas and my carnitas.
Carnitas, you kind of put the accent on it a little bit.
Yeah. When in Rome. You order in Spanish when you go to the Mexican restaurant, don't you?
Of course. Que quiere decir?
Say hola.
Hola, hola. Do you remember any Spanish?
Oh, a little bit. Like when they hand me my drink, I say gracias.
Puedo ir al baño. Do you know what that one is?
No, I don't speak that much Spanish.
Where is the bathroom?
Okay, el baño. I did catch that.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, no, I'm not much skilled there, but no, it'd be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that, because especially after seeing how
that sounds like one of those things. Like if I was totally speculating, I'd be like, yeah, they'll back away from that. Like they're going to realize, one, we might have trouble sourcing that much, non-GM corn.
That's what I'm wondering.
And then two, like, I don't know, like at least the perception we have in Mexico is that, food security and just wealth is a little bit of a problem. I know there's obviously wealthy people. As far as feeding their country as a whole,
yeah.
Do you really want to increase your food cost significantly by demanding, that you stop eating something or importing something you've always been fine with? Because, I'll agree that, hey, we might not fully know all the potential effects that eating GMO corn could have, but I'm fully aware of the effects of not eating at all.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't have experience with that, but your people start starving or they can't afford their food.
That's a bigger problem, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but, that's one of those things where, I'm like, I'll have to see it to believe it in terms of, do they really stick to their guns there and actually, hold to it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. That's for sure. Well, I guess I'll share one other thing before we kind of call it a night. There's not been a lot of craze going on in the ag world. I guess right now everybody's kind of got their nose to the grindstone, so it's not like we got some shell-shocking news for this episode, but I'm kind of kicking around the idea of maybe starting to grow a little bit of the white stuff.
A little bit of the white stuff.
Yep. The toot, man. I'm going to get into the toot market.
Yeah. Do we have the environment for that?
I don't know. Where do they grow poppy seed? Like, where is that grown at?
Oh, well, I guess the snail family grew it in the Ozarks.
Oh, do they? Never watched. I quit watching that one, but yes.
Yeah.
If they grew it there, is that what they started doing? Was growing, like, would they make heroin?
Yeah, the snails did.
Is it the same ones we went to school with?
I don't know if there was a relation there. Now they were from the Ozarks. That was kind of the whole thing with them was, that was kind of an axe they had to grind. Is that, I guess when they built the lake, they took a lot of their land away from them.
Yeah.
But anyway.
No, I am considering getting into the cotton arena.
Oh Lord.
Never thought I would.
That does not sound fun.
Well, that's the spraying is the part that just sounds the least.
Well, everything I've always heard is people say, if you're going to grow cotton, you got to go big,
well, that's
because the equipment cost and all, like there's no 500 acre cotton growers.
Yeah.
There's like you're growing 5,000 acres or you're growing none.
Well, I'm going old. That's the route I'm going. I'm going to get if I do this, I'm still putting pencil to paper. I've talked to my chemical guy, talked to an agronomist today. He called and we were shooting the breeze, and I was just kind of telling him, because he was talking about, some of the money people are making is pretty astronomical, and it is. That's what's got me kind of looking. Like, I'm hearing of guys making $1,000 an acre profit in cotton, and that
sounds too good to be true.
That's what I thought. But it seems to be true, because this cotton now, the varieties, guys are growing over 3 bale to the acre cotton. And man, you're getting, because I was what got me started on this was I was trying to figure out how in the crap these guys are paying $300 an acre rent. Because I'm like, how in the world are you doing that? Because on beans, good beans, like great beans, good price and stuff, you might make $700 an acre. That's before any costs. So like if you had if you had $250 an acre inputs in it, even $150 an acre rent, and your equipment and all that, I mean, you're quickly knocking that down to probably, $200, $300 an acre. But they claim the cotton guys are pulling $1,000 an acre profit.
Grief.
And so if I get into it, I would have to go the old school picker and the module builder and all that, because I looked out of curiosity, because me and Dad were kind of talking about it, and I said, I guess we could go in together on a cotton picker, on a roller picker. I can't justify it. I just can't make it pencil out, because a used one was like, that was in decent shape, was about $400,000. And
gosh.
a really nice used one was about $600,000. And all I've heard from John Deere Techs is how they're constantly working on cotton pickers. Like every time I call to ask a question about something going on, I'm like, what you up to today? Oh man, we got cotton pickers down everywhere. Like that's what they tell me every time I talk to them. So I would have to go old school if I do it. But I would.
Well, and see, the issue there is, man, it's so labor intensive.
It is.
And like right now, getting good labor, and Lord, because how many pieces of machinery do you have in the field then? Of course,
man,
you got your picker.
You got the module builder. Gosh, I don't even, to be honest, I really don't even know. I mean,
do you have to have a bowl buggy?
Yeah, probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's.
And then you got to come in, you clip the stalks. And the good thing, I guess they still will get it the old way. I was gonna say, the one good thing about cotton is you don't have to take it anywhere. You pick it, put it out, and they come get it.
Yeah,
that's one good thing. The trucking is pretty much non-existent. But yeah, it is labor. So I don't know. I'm kicking it around. I've talked to some guys about custom harvesting where they'll pick it for me, and it was like $100 an acre, which just hurts my feelings to think about that. And you're at the mercy of when they pick it. Like, that's the other part. Like, let's say you got a wet fall. They're obviously going to pick their own cotton first.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a good bump for the small farmer. When the guy I was talking to today, the agronomist, he actually said, he was talking about, we were talking about different people's cotton around here. And the guy's cotton that looks the worst is the biggest cotton farmer, and the guy's cotton that looks the best is one of the smaller cotton farmers. And I said, man, that's he said, you can actually, because he scouts cotton, he said, you can actually go and you can pull up a plant, and he said, you can check, I guess they check the nodes on there or whatever, the bowls, and he said, you can tell when they sprayed it. And he said, a small farmer, he said, they spray when it needs to be sprayed. He said, big farmers, they spray on a schedule. And he said, a small farmer, his will be cotton, 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 cotton. Whereas a big farmer will be cotton, no cotton, cotton, no cotton, cotton. And he said it's because that's every time he's on a schedule, so he's missing a pivotal window to spray, I guess for the bugs or something. And he said, you can always tell. He said, I can tell a large operator's cotton over a small guy's cotton any day. And he said, the small guy's cotton is almost always better.
Yeah.
And I said, well, that should tell people they need to let the small guys work. And he said, you would think people would know that, but he said, they don't think so.
Yeah, I would guess, and I mean, I don't know, or my question would be, are they're still really darn profitable? And is it better to have 10,000 acres of cotton and not be quite, I don't know how much they're making, 2.5 bales an acre.
Yeah.
Or have 1,000 acres of cotton and you're making 3 bales an acre,
Yeah.
Do you still, overall make more money?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm sure the big guys will say, yeah, it's still better to do it the way we're doing it because we have so much volume that's what really matters. Obviously there's a point in there where it passes a balance or a tipping point where that probably swaps, but yeah, I don't know.
I don't either. It was interesting. I don't know. I'm kicking the idea around.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I'd say do your research. See
if you want to come run the sprayer.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll need some labor. You'll be creating some more jobs.
Yeah, there you go. I'll be supporting American industry a little bit there. So you got our company.
Oh, let's see here.
Yeah, we need to put it on our board.
We do.
Let me start off with 2 words. Made in America.
I do. I bought a few things before we went on our trip, and I've had them and I've been waiting to use them.
Yeah.
Which I've been annoyed. I don't know why, but when you buy something, you get like the email like 2 weeks later. It's like, please review our product. I'm like, these are hunting things. Like, give me a minute. Like, I didn't like open the package and immediately get to use them.
Yeah.
Like, pump the brakes. Like, I'll review it once I've used it.
Yeah.
And so I had to wait on these before I want to, our kids sit here and talk about how much I love this made in the USA
that you've never tried
gear until I've tried it. But, but the first one I want to talk about, T&K hunting gear.
Yep.
I bought one of their bino harnesses, made in USA. They're veteran owned. Actually, I think they're in South Dakota, which drove right through there.
There you go.
I don't know what town they are. I doubt I drove through the exact town, but yeah, they make all kinds of accessories. Again, I just bought the bino harness, really liked it, very well made. I've only used it for 4 or 5 days, but looks like I would suspect it's going to hold up. I like a lot of the features on it, the magnetic opening and whatnot. But they got like rifle cases, hand warmers, all kinds of like little accessories you can put on your bino case, like a rangefinder holder, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was just looking, they've even got, a little bit of apparel, and it's even all made in the USA.
Oh, really?
Which is unique.
Even T-shirts?
Yeah.
Now,
they've only got 3 different T-shirt designs, but they're all made in the USA.
That's a pretty big deal there.
Yeah.
You don't find that often.
A lot of companies that are made in the USA, but like their logo gear is not.
Yeah.
Just because.
Like Cafaro, as awesome as Cafaro is, and their stuff, like their bag I got right over there, everything on it is American made, the stitching and everything, but their T-shirts are not made in America.
Yeah.
So that's pretty legit.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I can speak to the bino harness. Well made. Check them out. T&K hunting gear.
Brandon uses a lot of their stuff.
Yeah, I just saw somebody like shared it like on social media, and I was like, what? I was like, let me check that out. I've never heard of them.
Yeah.
And I like that even better. It's made in USA, and it's like a super small company. Like I of course I started following them on like Instagram, and like they showed a picture of like, their manufacturing, their shop, whatever you'd call it. And yeah, I mean, it's not real big, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. Like,
did you see their post about, all right, here it is, T&K hunting. Let's see if the post is up here. It might have been in their stories. I guess it was, where he talked about how they love seeing, or you get on social media and you see the people that are doing all of these outreaches to the huge influencers. And they said, but our gear is being used by like the real guy in the field, putting it to the test. He was like, I love that shit, or something is what it said. I like that. I was like, yeah.
I saw actually where I was first introduced to them, somebody shared it. They were like, and I love this about them. Like, and they may have even shared like the email somebody sent them, was complaining about the cost of something. It's like, and it was specifically about a bino harness. They said, maybe you just need to put yours in a paper sack if you think this is too much and you don't appreciate it, made American quality. I was like, hell yes. Like, they didn't
cater to them. Yeah. Didn't cave, I guess. Yeah.
I was like, I'm pretty sure like within an hour I'd ordered a bino harness from them, basically because that. They're like, yeah, what do you expect? Like, yeah, you can go buy your, $50 one, or whatever from any of the big online retailers, and it's, whatever, it's going to be a name brand, that you've heard of, but yeah, it's made in China, made in Vietnam. I thought, I was like, I'm going to buy something from them.
Yeah,
I've got to.
I'll have to get on there and look, because I need to get something from them.
Seems like that they're expanding their product line, but like that just accessories and things like that is kind of their niche. And I had a bino harness, but But I was like, yeah, they're made in the USA. I'm about one.
Yeah. Well, it's always good to support our American brethren. That's the point. Yeah, that's what we do like to do at the end. So, well, there you go, guys. Guys, if you watched on YouTube, please hit that like and hit the subscribe. If you're listening, leave us a rating and a review, and shoot us a message if you got a question you'd love for us to answer, or a topic you want us to cover. Anything. You can go to talkdirtpodcast.com and contact page. Shoot us a message on there. Message us on Instagram. I'm at low.hanks. You're at Hurricane Creek Farm.
Hurricane Creek
Farms.
Farms, yeah, something.
Plural?
I don't know.
Well, it'll be
You look
in
it
the
up,
description.
You'll find it.
So check it out, guys. We appreciate you for tuning in. Hope you have a good one.
Yep. Talk to you next week.